We are starting. So today's hangout is live. Welcome everybody. This is May Dulao from Finance Freedom Mastermind and YesFinanciallyFree.com. So I'm actually broadcasting live on my blog YesFinanciallyFree.com as we speak. So hello, and I'm going to set up so you guys can see me the best as best you can. See if I can get a good vantage for everybody. We'll see. So I'm actually broadcasting live on 3 different channels. We've got Periscope, woohoo! We got Facebook Live, yeah, and we got Instagram Live, and we got YouTube Live. So I do this every Friday at 6:30 a.m. Hawaii time. Hi Rick, super fan, welcome. And I talk about topics that will make you financially free. So definitely subscribe to me. If you're on YouTube, subscribe to my YouTube channel. And if you are just Creative Abundance Now, and if you are a Facebook fan, then definitely like the Facebook fan page. If you are, hi Ada, welcome to Scope. If you are on Periscope, swipe to the right and subscribe to my Periscope channel. Hi Kingman. All of my scopes are always good, they're always full of value, and they help you become financially free as fast as possible from a person who's in the trenches, just a regular girl. I'm not a financial advisor. Hi Jeff Hood. I'm a person who did it myself and who wants other people to be free as fast as possible because I love it. I think it's cool. Hi T66, welcome to Scope. Tap the screen if you think that's cool, and if you think financial freedom is great. Instagram, if you're seeing me live on Instagram, you know, definitely whatever you do on Instagram, follow, like, whatever. So if you want to get emailed about these great broadcasts too, go to YesFinanciallyFree.com and subscribe to my email list. You will get a free guide to parents on how to become financially free that I made, a PDF guidebook, which is really good. It has everything I did. Hey, Katie and Diane, not everything, but it has a lot of the key points that I did in that free guide. And you get it when you subscribe to an email list. And on my email, I send you great information. Usually only send out emails once a week these days, but I plan on sending more later. But right now, once a week, just to get you on these live broadcasts where I teach really cool skills. So thank you for being a fan. Thank you for being on live. So appreciate it. My name is May Dulao, if you don't know who I am, and I live in Honolulu, Hawaii. It is early morning here. It's actually raining outside today. But I do these early in the morning because I have a son. His name is Jordan. He's 3 years old. And when he wakes up, I'm a very busy mommy. So if you're a parent, you understand that you have kids, you know, and if you looked at any of my past Periscopes, you probably met Jordan, or maybe you've seen him. Even he's been on my lives because sometimes he wakes up and I'm not done. Hi, Sabbath. Kuni 32. Welcome to Scope. Let me know your name, where you're from, guys. So I do these early in the morning before my son wakes up. I really enjoy time with my son. Hi, Mile. Hi, Hitman. Welcome to the Scope. Interesting. So I do these early in the morning, and I want to get them done bright and early. I want to get them done. Canada. I was born in Canada. I was born in Montreal. Hi, Top Song. So my story. Live in Hawaii. I'm a mother, as you know. Started my journey into internet marketing kind of before I even got married, like I'd say about 6 years ago, 7, more than that, 8 years ago. Whew, wow, it's been a while. Okay, so I started internet marketing 8 years ago with blogging, and I really wanted to make more money. That was the reason I started. Okay, I wanted to make money while I was sleeping. That was my goal, sleep money. You know, I'm sleeping and I'm making money. I'm dreaming of money coming in from a website, you know, just like coming into me. So I was really excited about internet marketing for a long time. And through my journey, I realized that there's a lot you need to know. One of the things you need to know is how to manage money to become financially free. Because when I really thought about it, I really wanted to make a lot of money. I really wanted to be financially free. I still really like internet marketing though, so that's why I'm still doing it. Because to make more money in internet marketing, really you can make way more in internet marketing than other jobs. Because your job, you're stuck to your job, whereas in internet marketing you can have unlimited income. Hi S3B, hi Timac, 800. So that's how I started in internet marketing. Now let's talk about my financial situation. So back when I started internet marketing, I was kind of like, I don't know, my money situation was, I think I just started having a real job. I say real job meaning like a 40-hour work week kind of job. I've worked all my life, but it's always been kind of like part-time here, part-time there. So I had like a 40-hour work week kind of job. realized that I didn't want to be in a 40-hour work week kind of job anymore. So I did it, and I started learning things, started doing courses, all this stuff. Anyway, I ended up racking up a lot of debt, not just from that, but also from like bad relationships, stuff like that. So I ended up getting into debt about $50,000. It was just credit card debt, consumer loan debt, paying attorneys, paying credit cards, overspending on some things. And I got to a point where like my checks were bouncing. I was living paycheck to paycheck. I had my rent check. I think it was rent check or utilities check. I don't remember exactly. One of them bounced, and then another one bounced the same day. Hi, E-Rate 15. I think I had 3 checks bounce one day. I had to pay $90 in overdraft fees, and I didn't know where I was going to get the money to pay the overdraft fees. So it was like a horrible feeling. I don't know if you guys ever lived paycheck to paycheck and you had to keep bouncing, you know, and I hated it. Okay, and on days like that, I would actually cry because I worked for a bank and I was afraid they'd fire me because if you overdraft too much, they'll fire you because you're not good with money, right? So I was like freaking out all the time, stressed. You know, I was so stressed. So I decided to learn more about money management, figuring out how to make money work for me. You know, get money under control, actually enjoy money, actually want to. Things really hard. Actually want to open my mail for a change. I used to avoid opening my Hi Kingdom Judy. Welcome to Scope. So anyways, I wanted to get a handle on money and create more of it in my life, understand it better, and just I wanted to be rich. Okay, I was plain simple. I just want to have more money, and it just was very painful at the time. So I started learning skills like, you know, pay yourself first, 10% of everything, at least 10% of everything, pay yourself first, save your money, invest wisely. I studied in different kinds of investing. I read magazines about money that talked about investments, and I just experimented. You know, I looked into it, and I went from having having about $50,000 in debt like 7 years ago. I think that was when I had 50, and then it kept getting lower because I was working on paying it off, right? I paid off all my debt by April 2016. So I was completely debt-free, which was very exciting to me. Highs off 99. I cannot tell you how exciting I was. I was debt-free. I don't know if any of you have debt or a lot of debt, but debt-free is the best feeling ever because you don't have to make those debt payments anymore. You know how much of my paychecks would come in and just be debt payments? I think I'd pay $600 a month just in like credit card payments and loan payments and debt payments. It was just ridiculous, and I felt like, oh, I could do so much more if I didn't have to pay these debt payments. And then in April 2016, I wasn't paying those debt payments anymore. And because of all those years, I think I'd been like studying finance and investments, different kinds of investments for 5 years. I focused mainly on the stock market. And I'm not a financial advisor. Okay, I'm just a person who just got into the stock market. You know, mostly dividend yielding stocks. I started out with the, you know, buy sell stuff, but then I was like, oh, I don't like day trading. So I started just buying dividend yielding things, you know, and you can figure that out yourself. You can go to my blog if you want some suggestions, but you can actually figure it out yourself just by Googling and being like dividend yielding stocks. And then you can figure it out. It's not that hard. Hi, welcome, Dan. So that's what I did. I started doing that, and then by the time I was completely debt free, my family was making almost $500 a month in passive income. Hold on one second, guys. Okay, so my family and I were making almost what do you call it? Almost 500. Now, during those 5 years, we had made more than 1,000 a month in passive income for years. So it was like up and down, but the lowest we've ever been is about since we've gone to the $1,000 level. Hi, Gray. Hi, Josh. Welcome. Let's go. The most we've ever the lowest we've gone since we hit like 1,000 a month is where we are now, which is like right now, as of now, we make over $500 a month in passive income. Pretty steady. Hi, Penham. Renegade, welcome to the show. So, I ended up quitting my job in December. No longer work for the bank. Hola. I no longer work for the bank. I'm so excited because I'm just not the type to work for a bank too long. Hi, J Rocky. I learned a lot at the bank though. I was an assistant. I learned about private banking. I learned about Arriba Mexico. Hi. I learned about private banking, and I learned about money. I learned about overdrafts. I learned about how money running a bank. It was extremely not helpful for me as good knowledge. Hi, Boomer 55, welcome. Hold on one second, guys. And so anyway, really excited to quit my job in December, and then actually I started my first financial freedom beta class where I teach people how to do what I did, which is create passive income while paying off all your debt, and get to the point where you feel comfortable enough to quit a job and do your own business or whatever it is you want to do. For me, I wanted to do my own business. I knew I could make more money doing my own business. I knew I liked doing my own business better than working at the bank. So for me, the next logical step, once I felt like the system was in place, was to quit and to do my business. And my business right now is to help you, you the ones listening to this. Hi, Botsman66, and the people that you share this broadcast with. Please share it. You can share this on Twitter. You can share it on Periscope. You share it on Facebook. You can share this YouTube video on my blog post on your wall if you think these are important for other people. Because what I do, and I really love what I do, is I help other people become financially free. I help you structure your life, and there are certain systems you can put in place so that you don't have to work for someone else for a living. Now, I just had one friend get laid off. One of my students actually got laid off, and he told me this is what happens when you work for someone else, right? When you work for someone else, just because you have a job and you're making good money doesn't mean you always have that job. You could get laid off at any time. You could get replaced by a younger person, right? Whatever, someone who's cooler or they think is cooler. You're very cool watching this, but you know what I'm saying? Working for yourself and having your own money, what Robert Kiyosaki in the book Rich Dad Poor Dad called minding your own business. You really have to get in your own business where you pay yourself. And that's what investing is about. This is the book I'm talking about. Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. And this book talks about minding your own business. Okay? How to create wealth. You should definitely read this book like 100 times. I've gone through it over 100 times. It's a really good book. But like he talks about, you need to learn to mind your own business. Minding your own business means while you're working for someone else, if you have to, like if you just don't have money, you need to work for someone else to get money, that's fine. And you should definitely work in a job that gives you skills, like I did at a bank. I got a lot of skills from that job. Work at a job where you learn something that you need to learn and make money. Take the money you earn and invest it and mind your own business, meaning create your own investments so that you can sustain yourself without working for other people, right? Always, always mind your own business. So I started doing that. Like I started minding my own business, basically. I started building my investment business. I started building my internet marketing business. And I was positioned, oh, I got a live viewer on Facebook. Welcome, welcome. So I was positioned when I got completely debt free to quit my job. And when I got completely debt free, as you know, I was paying like a lot every month, like $600 a month in debt payments. When I was debt free, I had none of that. So then suddenly I was like $600 a month richer. Hi, Benson, welcome to the scope. It's like you become very wealthy when you pay off all your debt. Let's put it this way. Hi, Mika William One. Hi, Sikui. Welcome to the scope. Thanks for the hearts. Appreciate it. So that's my story. And in that process, my family increased our net worth $500,000. That's $500,000 in five years. Hi, Mickey2464. Thanks for the heart. So that's what happened to me. Okay, went from around, I'd say back 5 years ago, I had about 40,000 or 30, or it might have been 30,000 debt. I paid it all off by April 2016, and I increased our net worth by 500,000, $500,000. And we make over $500 a month and growing in passive income. I grow it every month now. Now that I don't work a job, I can focus on it more. So I've been growing it every month. So every month we grow our passive income. It's another reason I quit. I'm like, I need more time to grow our money. So I quit because I'm like, I need to work for ourselves. We make more money when I'm at home because I can study some things. I can do some investments. Hi, 62B. Welcome to Scope. So that's my story. And we're going to start with the topic today. The 5 biggest mistakes the 5 biggest mistakes people make with real estate investing. Welcome, CJ. Lots of letters. Welcome to school. So, real estate investing. This is something that I'm actually new at. Well, I'm not exactly new at. Hi, Bob. Tomorrow. I invest in stocks that are real estate investment trusts, but I need money so I can house the wife. That's a good goal, to house your wife. So, hold on one second, guys. Got like notification on my Periscope. Okay. Okay, God. All right. So let's talk. Let's talk real money stuff. Okay, so I've been learning from a lot of very wealthy real estate investors, different kinds of people like that. So I have some knowledge I'm going to share with you today. Some of them are from books like Rich Dad Poor Dad, Sonichi Roma, Robert Kiyosaki. This one is Tom Wheelwright, Tax-Free Wealth. This one is like, there is like this magical thing that if you use it, will make you much more money that nobody does. It's like a huge mistake people make. So this one will, it's cool. And then also from my real estate investor friends, I have friends who are multimillionaire real estate investors who have given me a lot of tips and advice as well. I read books, but I don't apply them in my life. Well, 62V, at least you know the problem with your life and why you can't house your wife. It's because you're not applying what you read. Okay? It's really simple. Once you start applying it, then your life gets better. Okay. Somebody at least admitted that they read books and don't apply it. Most people do that and they just don't say anything. I actually apply what I read, and that's why I don't work a job. And it's great. So let's move on. So real estate investing. A lot of people want to get into real estate investing. So let's talk about the biggest mistakes about real estate investing and things that people don't understand. The first mistake about real estate investing is from Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad Poor Dad. And it's the mistake that people make that their house is an investment. Hi, Ill Will 1024. When you buy a house to live in, all right, or apartment or a condo or whatever you're living in, right? It is not an investment. Okay, I might lose Periscope because I'm low battery, so you guys can charge up ahead of time. But just wanted to let you know in advance before you. Oh, wait, maybe I can get you some power. Okay, so the biggest mistake people make is they think that their house that they're buying isn't a real estate investment. And I'm here to tell you, and if you don't know this already, Robert Kiyosaki talks a lot about this. And basically, when you buy a house, it is not a real estate investment, okay? Now, let's talk about what that means. Sorry, I'm trying to figure out my Periscope thing right now, but you guys are going to have to just see it. There you go. I have a plug in there. Okay, someone says buy houses near schools. All right, here's the biggest mistake. First biggest mistake people make is they think that their house is a real estate investment. All right? They think that the house that they buy is a real estate investment. And the problem with that is they end up putting too much money into their house. All right? So what does that mean? So let's look at Hawaii, for example. I live in Hawaii, so it's easy for me to talk about Hawaii. If I wanted to buy a house in a nice neighborhood in Hawaii, I'd probably have to spend $1 million to buy just a regular house. Okay, I'm not talking fancy house. All right, I'm talking regular. Well, I mean, not fancy, but it might be bigger, but not so big. I mean, it'll cost at least $1 million to buy a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house in Hawaii, in a nicer neighborhood. Okay, so in a less nice neighborhood, it'll cost $300,000 to buy a house. Yes, $1 million in Hawaii. So I'm just using Hawaii as an example. Wherever you live, it's going to be different, right? I think in San Francisco is more than Hawaii, and I know in LA it's less than Hawaii, depending on where you're looking at, though. I know Vegas is less because a lot of Hawaiians are moving to Vegas to buy houses, so I know Vegas is less than Hawaii. But we're just going to use Hawaii example because I live in Hawaii. So people in Hawaii who want to buy a house in a nice neighborhood need $1 million, right? In fact, I know a girl who is like my age, right? She bought a house in a nice neighborhood. She spent $999,000, which is, $1,000 less than $1 million. Okay, so that's what she spent. That's what she bought. So they put down like, I don't know, at least a couple $100,000, right? And then they got a mortgage for the rest. So they probably got like a probably a $600,000 mortgage, probably. So their mortgage payments are going to be at least $4,000 a month, roughly. probably maybe more because you have to add insurance and all this stuff. So they're paying $4,000 to $5,000 a month for their mortgage, all right? So they took a huge chunk of money as a down payment, which is like a couple $100,000, and then they have a huge mortgage, right? Now to them, they might think that this is an investment because now they own their own home, it'll appreciate in value and all this stuff. The problem with that thinking is that you're spending all your money on your mortgage, and plus if you have a $600,000 mortgage and you're paying it for 30 years, you're actually doubling the purchase price, because in 30 years you're paying more than $600,000 in interest on a $600,000 mortgage. You can actually do that yourself. You can look at a loan calculator, but mortgage interest adds up. Even if it is 3%, you're still doubling your money. You're paying double the price, okay? So that money is going to the bank. So I don't know how that's an investment for you, because your money is going to a bank, not you, okay? Buy houses in up and coming areas. So this is what 60V is saying. Now, obviously there are exceptions to this, but in general, this is what people do in Hawaii. So this is why I'm talking about it, all right? So in Hawaii, people buy these houses, they put down so much money, and like they save up for a house, and that's all their savings is about, is to buy their first house, okay? So they have no savings for investing. They're savings for a house, right? They put it down, and they get a huge mortgage. And then all their money goes to pay their mortgage, and they get a lot of stress and frustration with this mortgage. And in Hawaii, if you ever sell your house, where are you going to buy a new house, right? Because if you sell your house, then you got to buy another one. It's the same price. So it's not like you can sell your house if you want to live in it, right? So I'm not telling you not to buy a house to live in. I'm just telling you that it's not an investment. Does that make sense, everybody? Buying a house to live in is not an investment. All right, not unless you're living it for 1 year, remodeling it, and then selling it, and then you jump into a new house, live in it like you're a professional, refurbish my house that I live in and sell. That maybe that makes it an investment. But for most average people, you live in a rented house. There you go. For most average people who buy a house, it's not an investment for them, because they end up putting way more money in it. They don't have any money to learn how to invest. All right, because they put it all in a house that they live in. So they get zero investment knowledge. All right, they get zero experience in investing, because you have to actually go and invest to get experience, right? So for the past like 7 years, I've been in the stock market learning to invest in dividend yielding stocks. And some of them were good, some of them were bad. Hi DDA Bandit, hi Cruiser 12. And I got better and better. And now I know how to get, consistent dividends from different stocks, and I know how to do that. That's because I have investor experience, right? Now, if I had put all my money in a house and all I was focused on was the yard and fixing the house, which is what, if you've ever seen someone buy a new house, they become married to their house, right? Suddenly all their time is put in their house. They got to fix this, they got to fix that. They have no time to learn how to invest their money. So, biggest mistake, number one, people think that buying a house to live in is an investment, and it is not. Hi, Ali. For most people, it is not. Okay, so that's the biggest mistake people make. That is numero uno, okay? Biggest mistake people make. Now, how can you avoid that mistake? Well, if you cannot really afford to buy a house, like if it's going to tighten your budget so much, thanks to the hearts, TX111, if you cannot afford to buy a house, if it's going to tighten your budget to the point where if you did buy a house, all your money would go into the house, it's not time for you to buy a house. Wait, okay? Do you understand what I'm saying? Or if you're going to do it, at least know in your mind that this is not an investment, because it's not, all right? You just need to understand to separate out what is an investment, what is not. Hi, Govan CH. If you have a house that you bought and you're renting part of it and you're living in it, and the people who are living in it that are paying rent to you pay off your mortgage, then maybe you can call it an investment. I don't have enough to purchase a house. Yeah, well, if you don't have enough to purchase a house, you're obviously not going to purchase a house because you just don't have enough. So that's easy. But now I'm not saying not to buy a house. I'm just saying it's not an investment. So if you know that and you understand that, your first home purchase that you're going to do to live in might not be so extravagant. Do you understand what I'm saying? It might be a house that you really can afford, right? That when you move into it, the money you're paying for the mortgage is equal to the money you're paying now for rent. All right, so you might not live maybe in as good a neighborhood, or you might have a much smaller house, or whatever. But if you understand that your first home is not, buying this home to live in is not an investment, you'll make wiser decisions when you buy a home. And you'll leave more money out there so you can learn to be a good investor. Okay? Okay, that's number one. Number two. Number two, biggest people, blah. Number two biggest mistake people make, and I'm gonna share my screen. On my YouTube live, I can do cool things like share my screen. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna share my screen and I'm gonna edit my blog post while I'm doing this, so that if you want to see the replay, you can go to my blog. And yeah, financial records is actually what I was going to talk about next. But let me just I'm going to share my screen on my YouTube live. I'm sorry, I'm not going to share it on any other platforms, just so you know, just on YouTube live. So if you're watching this on anything else, you can always go to my blog, which is yesfinanciallyfree.com. On Periscope, you can actually click on it in my profile. So this is my blog, 5 biggest mistakes people make when investing. And I'm just going to write it in so I can keep track right here. So 5 biggest mistakes. The first one, number 1, thinking that buying a home to live in is an investment. Okay? Because I think you all know that when you rent, if the roof caves in or something happens to the place you're renting, you don't have to pay for it. The landlord does, right? The owner of the home pays for it. So another thing about renting is your monthly expenses pretty much stay even, as opposed to owning a house where if the roof caved in on a house you own, you'd have to fix the roof, fork out 40 grand. Where are you going to get the money? You probably have to borrow against the value in your house, right? Or whatever, right? So it's a lot more expensive than most people think. They don't budget for repairs. Hijack Phil 58. What advice do you have for 20-something-year-olds who have nothing in the bank? If you're a 20-something-year-old and you have nothing in the bank, my advice to you is every time you make money and get paid, put at least 10% of it in the bank, in a savings account where you never spend it and you only use it for wise investing. And start now, because I started in my 30s and look at me. So it only takes about 5 years to be free if you start with nothing and debt. If you start with more higher paying job, you can be free even faster. This is my experience, so everyone's different. Okay, so number 1, thinking that buying a home to live in is an investment. Number 2, so not properly looking at the cash flow of an investment property. Okay, so another mistake a lot of people make, and they make this in their personal lives, and that's why they make it when they're investing. Once someone decides to start real estate investing, and I've seen examples of this. Hi, Safet Kune 32. They don't actually take the time to put the numbers down and figure out if this investment is going to cash flow properly. So I've seen people who, you know, they get into investing and they buy multiple houses or apartments or whatever, and then they find out they're negative cash flowing. What does that mean? They're actually paying more into the investment than they're making, right? And because of that, they end up losing money, and they have to sell properties, or they're just holding on and they're really stressed out because they're losing money, even though and they're waiting for these properties to finally cash flow and give them a profit, but they're not. Oh, it's good. You have $100 in your savings, and you said you had no money. Were you lying, hiding? Hi, H2, welcome to Scope. You have $100 in your savings, and grow it. You know, put 200 in this month, put 400 in next month, put 800 in the following month. Hi, Durango 36, welcome to Scope. Pretty soon you'll have 10 grand. You can do some investing. You can buy a real estate investment property. Okay, not properly looking at the cash flow of an investment property. So how do you look at the cash flow of an investment property? There's certain things that you need to look at. Number 1 thing, obviously, is the cost of the investment property. Most people look at that, the cost, right? Because they're going to buy it. What they don't look at is what is the maintenance? How much do they have to put in per month to handle all maintenance things? Because if you're renters and their toilet breaks, you got to call a plumber. And in Hawaii, you call a plumber. It costs $100. Hi, Prakasam. A plumber coming to your house and fixing a problem usually costs about $100 in Hawaii. Okay, so you have to factor in your tenants calling in problems like that, right? Hi, Nick, Donna, Nick, Don. What if the cabinet door breaks? You have to fix it. You call a handyman, you pay the handyman. So you need to budget your investment property. Yeah, plumbers get paid good, it's true. So you need to budget your investment property properly. So you need to factor in things like if you're in Hawaii, you might have to pay flood insurance, right? You need to factor in mortgage interest, right? Make sure you have a fixed rate. If you have a adjustable rate mortgage, then you have to be careful because rates are going up, right? So rates might go up. You have to, and the housing crisis, a lot of that was because of the rates, right? That was interesting, right? The housing crisis that happened, was that 8 years ago, 10 years ago? That happened because people bought all these properties at adjustable rate mortgages, right? And then when the mortgages adjusted up, it was such a big jump that people had to foreclose their homes and all these things that they bought and the housing, right? Hi, Malia Mohammed. And there was a lot going on more than that, but definitely watch the movie The Big Short that talks about the housing crisis. But if you're not looking at the cash flow of your property, you're going to be in trouble. So if you have an adjustable rate mortgage or a fixed rate mortgage, you need to know, right, what your risks are, okay? The next thing, mortgages are likely like slavery. I'm not going to disagree there, okay? I just found out from one of my millionaire mentors, he's going to buy a place cash that, there's a guy named James Ramsey, I think his name is. I don't follow him, but he's another guy out there teaching money stuff that I've heard a lot of people follow and get a lot of value from him. He says that you should always buy cash, never get a mortgage. And I understand why, because like I said, if you get a $600,000 mortgage, even if you're paying 3%, in 30 years you will have paid over $600,000 in interest. Hi, Moa, got cash, welcome to Scope. So no wonder where your money going, right? Edgar Rumor, welcome to Scope. Okay. So things to look at with cash flow. Number one, adjustable rate, fixed rate mortgage. Number two, the cost of the purchase, obviously. Number three, you have to factor in maintenance, repairs. If something breaks down, you need to fix it, right? So you need to factor that in. Number four, are you having someone manage it? You can manage your investment properties, but I just want to tell you that you really should understand your local real estate law on rentals. Hi, Heartless Men, because if you don't do things properly, you could get caught up in tenant lawsuits and tenant difficulties where you might be liable for things. So unless you're willing to look into that, you should hire a management company. So you have a management company fee, right? Insurance, right? You need insurances on your rental property in case something goes wrong. You need to factor in tenancy vacancies, right? So some people are like, oh, it rents for this much a month. I'll go get it. I'll rent it, blah. But it often takes a while to get a good tenant, okay? Right? You might get a tenant that doesn't pay rent, and then you have to evict them. And you can't just evict tenants. You have to go to court. You have to pay a lawyer, right? And then there's a process. And by the time you actually evict them, it might be 3 months later. And you paid how much to your attorney, and you haven't made any rent. So you have to factor in things like that. You're not always going to get the perfect tenants. They might not pay rent. Hi, what's up? Welcome to Scope. And if you want to get a better tenant, then you might have to wait longer. I don't really have the best tenants. This said from someone who doesn't own any investment property. Hi, DZCC751 Scope. So they might not pay you. It might take you months to find a good tenant, right? You might have people want to be your tenant, but they're not the best tenant. So you wait for a good tenant. In the meantime, you're not making rental income. I think you guys are starting to understand what I'm talking about here, okay? Also, the government at any point could raise your property taxes. And that was talked about in Rich Dad Poor Dad, actually. His parents had a rental property. I mean, not a rental property. They lived in a house that they owned, and the government increased their property taxes so that they had to end up paying like, I don't know, $1,000 a month in property taxes or some crazy number. And they had to move out of their home because they couldn't afford the property taxes anymore. So there's a lot of factors that could change when you own property. All of these factors need to be addressed when you're figuring out if your property is going to cash flow or not, right? You need to know if it's really going to cash flow. You need to be realistic about the cash flow of your property. So you need to really understand that, okay? So factors to understand in cash flow are property taxes, right? Property taxes, insurance, maintenance, like plumbing and all that. Personal, how many properties do you? I don't own any yet. I told you I'm a baby. This information is coming from multi-million-dollar real estate investors who I work with, and I'm starting to buy property now. That's why I'm thinking about it so much, because I'm in the process of looking. I'm actually looking at properties today. Hi Silver, hi Clydesdale. I looked at properties this past couple of weeks already. So my next project right now is property, so that's why it's on my brain. So, but this is coming from people who own property. So these things that I'm sharing with you are from people and books where these guys all own property, by the way. So that's where this is coming from, okay? Property taxes, insurance, maintenance, plumbers, management, because they handle the laws, right? Handle rental laws. And I know, and evictions and so on. You don't necessarily want to handle your own evictions. Maybe you do, but maybe you don't, right? And if you don't want to handle that, you need a management company, and you have to pay them to manage your property, right? If they're giving you services. Property tax and insurance, tenancy vacancies, and vacancies, property tax and insurance, maintenance, management, tenancy vacancies. So you have to get all of these numbers: cost of down payment, unless you bought it cash, cost of mortgage fees, and cost of mortgage fees and interest, right? There's all kinds of things when you get into a mortgage. And so property available, I'm not sure what you're talking about, but okay, so here we go. Those are some factors that you need to factor into the cash flow when you're looking at investment property. So that's what I've been doing now. As I look at properties, I'm factoring Minneapolis. Oh, you're in Minneapolis, Minnesota? Well, the cost of living is probably lower than Hawaii, so at least you've got that going for you. Okay, so this is what's going on here. Okay, so you need to properly cash flow to see if you're actually going to terrible properties out here though. Okay, so you need to think of the home. You need to understand that your home is not an investment. Number one, biggest mistake. Number two, if you don't properly look at your cash flow of your investment property, you might end up being in the red and owing more on your properties than actually making. Chronic, oh, and I almost forgot. Fixed interest mortgages versus adjustable rates. That's the housing crisis. Okay. Okay. Thanks for the hearts, guys. Thank you for joining the Periscope, and thanks for being on all my lives. Okay. Moving on. That's number two. So number one, thinking that buying a home is an investment is a mistake. Not properly looking at cash flow investment property is a mistake. Number three, buying property in a different I'll put out of state. I'll just put out of state or out of your country. Okay. So the third biggest mistake, and this is something that people in Hawaii do because real estate is so expensive in Hawaii, we want to go to some other state and buy property. Thanks for the heart. Hi, Oz, SNGN. This is a tip that I got from a local real estate investor, multimillionaire, one of the richest people on Oahu, and he's my age. Okay, he's a little older than me, but not much. Okay, and he's a super multimillionaire. He gave me this advice because I was telling him, I'm thinking of buying property out of state because it's so much cheaper. Because in Hawaii, like I said, if you want to buy a regular home, it's $1 million, right? And if you go to other states, a regular home might be $250,000, like 200,000. It's like, oh, it's so much easier for me to buy, right? And this is the advice he gave me. Okay, so listen in, tune in. This is advice I got from my real estate investor friend who's a multimillionaire. People who buy property out of state, they usually lose money and it's not a good investment. Unless it is a condo or apartment building, like a whole building complex that has its own resident manager on salary in the property. Why is that? Because if you buy a property out of state, you just have one condo or one house. Yeah, see, a 300 square home is $250,000 in Minnesota. See, it's way cheaper than Hawaii, I'll tell you that. So it makes me want to go to Minnesota and buy investment properties, right? Then I can rent it to you, right? Since you're renting. Hi, Gamma 498. Welcome to Scope. Okay, so that's what I'm saying. Like, but the weather's horrible. The weather's not the greatest in Vegas either, but people are moving to Vegas like you wouldn't believe. So anyway, like I was thinking of buying out of state. This was actually in 2015. So I've been looking into real estate investing for a while. And he told me this. He said, why? Because if you buy just one house, let's say you buy a house and you want to rent it. What if something's wrong with it? You have to hire a management company. Management company is not going to prioritize your one house. They're managing all these properties and they got people local, right? And locally, they got people who own like 10 properties or whatever, right? Or buy a home on the scene, buy a house on the scene. So basically, when you buy your first rental property, if it's like just a house or an apartment and you live in the area, if something goes wrong, you can go there and fix it, right? You don't have to hire a plumber. You can save the $100. You can see what's going on. And you can, even if you do hire a plumber, you can double check their work and make sure they did the job well, right? If you have a management company running it, they're not going to prioritize your rental if you only have one. They're not going to advertise it as quickly. They might let it sit there for months before they get a tenant in. Hi, Noble Fumi. Welcome to Scope. They might send repairs over and not double check. They might not really. Why? And it's not a bad thing necessarily. Hi, Chronic PP. It's because they just don't have the resources to put so much attention on your one little property when they got like Aloha, when they got all kinds of other properties that they're managing as well. So if you want to buy out of state and you're not there to look at your property and maintain it, you need to, and this is especially true for Hawaii because we have to fly to get out of state. We have to buy a plane ticket. So it's kind of expensive for us to go to another state to check up on our properties. Yeah, so buy a property near where you live if you're a first-time investor and you're only buying a small property. Or the only time he said, out of state, buying your first rental property out of state. The other thing is if you buy an apartment complex and it has a resident manager on salary, so the resident manager fixes things, so it's a fixed, you have a fixed salary that covers all repairs and all maintenance, then you don't have to worry about sudden repairs things, and he's always there living there and he takes care of it, or she, then it makes sense. And he said that's the only time he's seen people in Hawaii who invest out of state actually make a profit and it be okay. So there you have it. That's from my millionaire real estate investor. And if you're gonna, hi Night Rider, and if you're gonna start investing in property, it's good to have it close to you so you can get a feel for it. And this is for your first rental property, just so you can understand what's going on and understand everything that happens, and you can kind of get a gauge and get experience, right? Even if you're not managing yourself, at least you're going to understand what's going on because you live in the area. You can do a drive-by, check out your property, you know, make sure it's still there. Hi, bad girl. 497, we'll just go. Things like that, right? So that's the third mistake. Okay, so number one, thinking that buying the home you live in is an investment. Number two mistake, not properly looking at the cash flow of an investment property. Hold on, guys. I'm not sure what that means. Number three, buying your first rental property out of state or out of your country, okay, without properly figuring out how rental properties even work to begin with. Okay, we're on number four. Okay, thinking that buying a home is okay. So number four is interesting. Not claiming appreciation. Okay, this one, I don't speak Pidgin. Well, I speak a little Pidgin, but we're not POW yet. Okay. Not claiming depreciation. This one is a big one. This one is from Tom Wheelwright. Ty Lopez. Actually, I have heard of it, but I don't know much about it. Okay, thanks for the hearts. Appreciate you guys. Hi, Fourth. Okay. Ty Tax-Free Wealth by Tom Wheelwright. The biggest mistake people make when they have a real estate investment I bet it is. I'm not knocking anybody. I think that people teaching it probably have good stuff if they're out there teaching. Tax-Free Wealth by Tom Wheelwright. This book is phenomenal. Recommended to me by a multi-million. They make yeah, they're multi-millionaire. I think so. They're pretty wealthy. They don't have to work jobs either. This married couple, the wife. Tax-Free Wealth by Tom Wheelwright. So this married couple, I was talking to the wife. She does all their accounting, and she's a real estate agent, and she also does real estate investing. She told me this book is like the Bible. It's so good. So I got it. And she's pretty smart. She does a lot of really interesting structuring with corporations. You're welcome. U.S. is a tax haven. The stuff that he talks about in here works in different countries. He talks about Canada, Great Britain, and he talks about other countries as well. So it's worth reading even if you're not from the United States. Okay, not claiming depreciation. This one, I had no clue. Okay, depreciation is like this magical thing that exists in taxes that doesn't exist anywhere else. Okay, and I had no understanding of it, but I read this book and I reread it yesterday because I wanted to factor in depreciation into my cash flow specs. Hi, Ricky. Hi, everyone. Oh, Tokyo. I would love to come to Tokyo. I've never been except to the airport many times because I used to live in Taiwan, so I fly through there a lot. But so I actually studied this book yesterday very closely to understand this depreciation thing. Because I was like, what the heck is going on with this depreciation? How do I factor it into my calculations of how to buy a rental property, right? This is the part that blew my mind, and that might blow your mind. But I'm just going to go through the example from the book. And I am Taiwanese, half Taiwanese. Okay, so let's go right into depreciation. People, and he said the biggest thing that people don't do is claim depreciation. All right, and it's actually the difference between having money and not having money in real estate investing, almost. So let's talk about it. So he has an example here, which is very fascinating. That's why you're cute, because I'm half Taiwanese. Funny. Hi, Banner, Jira, Ja, 38. Welcome to Scope. Okay. The cost of let's say you bought an apartment building and it cost $800,000. I saw one for sale in LA that cost $800,000. Okay, so you buy an apartment building, it costs $800,000. All right. May, not trying to be nosy, but can you tell us your qualifications, education? I did in the beginning. I mean, part of the reason you are. You can rewind the Periscope. I'm not going to go over them again because it took me a while to tell them. But it's a good question. So rewind the Periscope, go to the beginning, and you'll get like 20 minutes of, well, I think I talked about myself and my qualifications for 15 minutes. So you're going to get them in the front, okay? But if you want to know his qualifications, go get the book and you can read his qualifications. This is directly from the book, okay? So see, and this guy is a CPA. He owns a CPA firm. So this is tax stuff. If you are born poor, it is not your mistake. But if you die poor, it is your mistake, Bill Gates. Okay, cost of apartment building is $800,000. All right, so you buy an apartment building, $800,000. You take out the value of the land, so let's say you buy an apartment building, $800,000. The actual value of the land is $200,000. So you subtract $200,000 from $800,000. What do you get? Turn on your brain, guys. You get $600,000, right? $800,000 minus the cost of land, $200,000, $600,000. So $600,000 is the value of the building and its contents. Okay, hi Mark, marker 8052. So the value of the building and its contents is $600,000. Take out the value of the contents. Now this is where most people don't even know what I'm talking about. And when I first read this, I'm like, what is he talking about? The value of the contents. Most people, when they buy rental properties, don't separate contents from building, at least according to this CPA. Okay, and they should, because of right now I'm going to show you why. So the contents is $100,000 and the actual building is $500,000. So separate that out. Okay, so the actual value of the building without the contents and without the land is $500,000. You can claim on your taxes this magical thing called depreciation. Right? So what is it? In his example, the rate for depreciation was 3.6%. Contents of the house are furniture, right? Contents, whatever's inside the house, exactly. So you can multiply basically the amount of the value of the building, which is 500,000, by 3.6%, and that's how much you can claim for depreciation per year for a certain number of years. Okay, so 3.6% of 500,000 is $18,000. So if you have a building worth 500,000, you can claim 3.6% depreciation per year, which is $18,000. Okay, so the first thing, $18,000 depreciation deduction. Okay. Second thing, contents of the building. All right. 3.6% is the carry from place to place. I'm not sure what you mean by, does that carry from place to vary? Oh, vary. No. No, it doesn't vary from place to place. Now the percent might be different because tax laws change every year, but there is some percent. And when he wrote this book, the percent was 3.6%. Okay. So you have to obviously talk to an accountant to get updated on tax laws. But in this book at this time, it was 3.6%. And there is a percent for depreciation, probably around the same percent. Okay. So $18,000 can be used for depreciation. The cost of the, let's look at the contents now. And this is the next part that people don't claim, is the contents. My Instagram Live is going to end soon, so buy Instagram Live. The contents were worth $100,000, yeah? So if you're depreciating contents, people 25 and older with bachelor's earn an estimated 15.96% more than those with only. Everybody's stating facts randomly. Big Island, welcome. Aloha. Okay, this is the key. That's really interesting. If you separate building and contents, which I guess a lot of people don't do, that's one of their biggest mistakes. I'm doing awesome, thank you. The contents depreciate at a higher rate. All right. So $100,000 is what we said the contents were worth, right? You can multiply it by 20% instead of 3.6 because contents depreciate faster than the building. Does that make sense? I live in Oahu by Diamond Head. Okay, so multiply by 20%, 100,000 multiplied by 20%, and you can actually claim $20,000 for depreciation. Okay, $20,000. Oh, my super fan is on. Yay. Hi, Morocco. Welcome. So the total amount of depreciation you can claim for this one apartment building in 1 year is $18,000 for the building plus $20,000 for the contents. That's a total of $38,000. I do know where Morocco is. So the building depreciation, the contents depreciating $38,000. Let's say you make $12,000 in cash flow. Let's say after all expenses and everything, you make $12,000 from your $800,000 apartment building. Okay, so you have your, if you have a mortgage, you're paying your mortgage payments. You have to pay the resident manager. You're paying your taxes. After all of that you've paid, you're making $12,000 a year. Okay, that's what you're making, $12,000 a year in cash flow. All right, so that's $1,000 a month. All right. Hi, Toronto. So if you're making $12,000 a year in profit, but you can subtract $38,000 in depreciation, then you're actually, your business that you own this in, you're actually going to have a net loss of $26,000. Yeah, someone's asked, so depreciate something you give it. Sorry, ma'am, I'm back. Okay. Yeah, let's talk about depreciation. So basically, let's say you have your business, which is this apartment building. It makes $12,000. Normally, you would get tax on the $12,000, right? Right? But since you have depreciation, which I just showed you how to calculate, if you didn't hear that, rewind, okay? You're on an old iPad, okay. So subtracting out depreciation, you actually show a loss of $26,000. What does that mean? Well, the first thing it means is you don't have to pay any taxes on that $12,000. So all the rent money you make is tax-free. Tax-free, all right? That's better than your job. Okay. No taxes, baby. Exactly. Now, on top of that, there's a better thing. All right, it's not. It just doesn't stop there. Okay, I'm not going to answer all your questions right now because I'm going to finish this example. But thanks for the question. Appreciate it. Okay, so the $26,000 loss, because you have $38,000 in depreciation, right? And you have exactly. So you subtract out the $12,000, and you show a net loss of $26,000 in your investment property. You structure your taxes correctly, and one way to structure it is forming an LLC, right? That passes through to your personal income, right? This is the second thing that depreciation does. This $26,000 loss from your rental property goes directly toward your income. So if you had a job and you had a rental property and you made $100K, this $26,000 loss subtracts from the $100K. So you get taxed at a lower tax bracket potentially, right? And you get taxed on less money. And so you reduce your personal taxes. So in his example, let's say you were in the 40% tax bracket because you're rich enough to buy an $800,000 condo, whatever. So if you multiply the $26,000 that you're not being taxed at 40%, you are saving $10,400. So what does that mean? That means without this rental property, you would be paying an extra $10,400 a month in taxes and not earning $12,000 tax-free. With this rental property, you make $12,000 a year tax-free, and you get an extra $10,400 back from the IRS, which you can use to do whatever the heck you want. You can use it as a down payment on another property. You can use it to invest. You can use it to go on a vacation. It's your money. So you are basically buying this property makes you over $22,000 richer. So that's the magic of depreciation. The biggest mistake people make when they buy rental properties that he's seen plenty of tax returns as a CPA. People do not claim depreciation. Why? Because they're too lazy. They don't understand the implications. Their CPA is too lazy, or they're not educated enough to do this. The second biggest mistake that he's seen, they do not separate contents from building. If you do not, and you have to have, according to this book, you have to have a CPA or an engineer do a study on your building and determine which parts are contents, and which parts are the building. And if you separate the contents from the building, that made a huge difference in this example because the contents had $20,000 depreciation and the building had an $18,000 depreciation, right? The building you could only depreciate at 3.6%, but the contents you could depreciate at 20%. So if you guys are understanding this, people are not separating out contents from building, and they're not depreciating appropriately. Okay? And they're losing out on this huge depreciation expense, which would cost them, which we just talked about, cost you over $20,000 a year, just from depreciation. So they do not claim depreciation for the building, and they do not claim depreciation for the contents of the building. Okay? Now the good news is if you have a rental property already, you can claim depreciation. Okay? Now, so you can actually backtrack, and they let you go back and claim it as if you had been claiming it from the beginning and catch up. So you can still claim depreciation, and you can claim it in the year that you start claiming it. So you can still catch up and do this. But most people do not claim depreciation for the building. They do not split it up between contents and building and claim depreciation for the contents. And that is just laziness and money going out your pocket. Does depreciation apply only to property? No, depreciation does not apply only to property, like rental property. Depreciation also applies to like equipment you buy for business, all kinds of things. So depreciation is important, and it does apply to other things besides rental property, but this scope and everything's about rental property. Okay, I hope you got great value out of today's live lesson. I am live every Friday at 6:30 a.m. Hawaii time. My blog is yesfinanciallyfree.com, and the replay is on my blog, yesfinanciallyfree.com. You're welcome. definitely get the book yourself because it's very helpful. Yeah, and these are the 5 biggest. So I'm just going to do it again. And I could have given you more, but I'm just going to stop there. So the 5 biggest mistakes real estate investors make. They think that buying a home to live in is an investment. Number 2, they don't properly look at the cash flow of an investment property. Number 3, buying your first rental property out of state or out of your country. Okay. Number 4, not claiming depreciation for the building. And number 5, not claiming depreciation for the contents of your rental property. Okay. Have a great weekend, everybody. I'm excited that I'm going to be on vacation next week. Yay! I'm not sure if I'll do this next week. I will let you guys know on my email list, and if you follow me, I might do a vacation scope, you know, just, yay, I'm on vacation. But I might not do an educational scope, not sure. I'm going to be on vacation with my hubby, and it's a staycation in Hawaii, if you're wondering. And if you don't know already, I'm celebrating because I'm going to be on over 5 weeks of vacation this year. When I used to work a job, I used to only take about 2-3 weeks of vacation. And actually, I talked to other people about this. It used to be that when I went on vacation, I would get sick because I was so stressed out and so much work from the job and being a mom and everything that when I would come back on vacation, I would be sick like half of it, and then the other half I'd recover and go back to work, because that's what having a job that has a lot of stress does to you, right? But now that I don't have a job like that and I work for myself, thank you, I get to go on vacation, and I'm actually healthy on these vacations. So they're actually real vacations, as opposed to fake vacations, as opposed to vacations where you're dead in bed and you're not doing anything, right? So we already went on 2 weeks of vacation, and I booked another 3 weeks of a vacation last week. I booked a cruise, which was one of my dreams, was to go on a cruise. I'm so excited. I'm going on a cruise from LA to Mexico. And we're also going to be visiting family. So 1 week is cruise, 1 week is just being in LA with family. And also having a 1 week staycation. We already did 2 weeks. So we're doing about 5 weeks of vacation this year so far, which is a record for me. Okay, a record for me. Thank you. I know. It's like a world record in my brain. Like, because I've always dreamed of having more real vacations and going on. And I was visualizing this cruise for almost a year. So this is a big deal for me. So I just want you guys to know that I'm excited, and things are moving faster and faster. Like I said, I'm going to be buying the first property soon. Hi, Jay Garrett, Scope. Just working on that as we speak. Today we're going to view properties, so you know that already. And things are moving faster and faster. So I'm really excited about that. If you are interested in my financial freedom training, you can contact me directly. You can go to financefreedommastermind.com. And my blog also has, if you go to yesfinanciallyfree.com, there is a pop-up with a video that I explain the Finance Freedom Mastermind. And that's where I bring a group of people together and I teach them what I do, which is create passive income, create more freedom in your life, create more health, you know, so that you don't have to work for other people for a living anymore. And I teach that to groups of students. I have 3 classes so far. One guy I think is going to jump in at the last minute in my June beta class, because my June beta class is, you know, today's the last day if you want to get in. And this one guy has been like getting the money and he's finally going to jump in today. He's barely making it. But after today, the tuition increases. So, hi, Hoshimo. Today, it's $997 to get in that class. And there's only 2 spots left. And I think he's going to take one of them. So there's only 1 spot left. And the class goes on for a year, and we just work together and create financial freedom for everyone in the class. It's really exciting. I love it because every time my students have a breakthrough and they make passive income or they pay down a debt or something happens, you know, hi Jordan, I get really excited about it. So that's the Finance Freedom Beta Mastermind class. After today, it's going to be the regular class, not beta testing anymore. It's going to be the regular class, and tuition will be $5,000 to get in for the year. Thank you. Yeah. So love you guys. Have a nice day. And I will see you next week. Maybe I'm on vacation, so I may not show up, but just so you know, I love you guys. And I will be back the following week for sure on Friday, 6:30 a.m. Hawaii time with more great updates. And if you want to know about the Finance Freedom Mastermind, if you just want to talk to me, I actually interview you to get in. And I give you a free gift, which is the wealth strategies I use to become completely debt free. I give you that for free when I interview you for the class. If you're interested in applying, like I said, go to financefreedommastermind.com and you can apply there. All right, and then I call you and we interview, and I'll see if you're good for the class. Have a wonderful week. Aloha, and thank you for being on live with me. I really appreciate you guys. Take care. Bye. If I can turn off this scope, I will see, because it's bye. Thanks for being a super fan. And bye for YouTube Live. See you next week. Aloha.